Hey, welcome to this episode of Think Business Live. Looking forward to talking with Katherine Abboud, co-founder and CEO of Rise Creative Studios. Katherine, it's great to connect with you. Kudos to our friend Joan Frank for connecting us
Yes.
at her PR firm. She does great work, and I always appreciate when she connects me with great people. So looking forward to connecting with you. So I like to start all of my podcasts off, Katherine. I'm a business coach, and I work with people all over the globe, from solopreneurs to fortune companies, everything in between, who are successful and stuck, and I work with them to get them unstuck. What I love about the platform is I get to have guests like you that are in alignment with that mission. So my first question to you is, if you go to risecreativestudios.com, what it shows on the homepage as of today is we assist clients in their authenticity and intentionality by offering services that enable storytelling through an inclusive gaze. I want to talk about storytelling because I think people, a lot of times, and I see this in my business, they get it wrong. And so where do people get stuck in storytelling, and how do you get them unstuck?
Well, John, first of all, thank you for having me. And yes, kudos to Joan Frank for connecting us today. So it's a great question, and it's something that we love to help our clients answer all the time. So just a little bit of background. Rise Creative Studios is a content creation studio. So we create original and branded content. And as you said, we approach all of our storytelling through an inclusive gaze. And really, our mission is to widen the gaze, because we know that diverse voices hold immense power. And what that really means is it's not just diverse voices in terms of race, gender, but also in the way you approach something. And to answer your question, I think that's where a lot of clients have problems in their storytelling, because it's not authentic, and they don't know how to get their story across, because they're still trying to produce their stories through a very traditional means. And that's why we started Rise, was to actually break through that whole traditional ecosystem.
Yeah. It's interesting. I think, there's when it comes to telling a story, there's, like anything, there's the guide, there's the hero, there's success, there's failure, there's pain, there's action. There's so many things that can be told, in many cases, what we see in a 30-second commercial. And so I'm a big believer that people need resources like yourself, like me, who aren't so connected and can zoom out as an observer and really help people shape their story. So thanks for that. That was great. So a question I have about content, so you're content creators. And one of the things that I'm a big fan of, that I think everybody needs to be thinking more about, is how can I be somebody who delivers more content to the people who want to see my content? And I think that's something that people have a really hard time with, is creating the content. And so what would be one thing that you would guide people on how to create more? Doesn't necessarily mean, 1,000-word blog or this, but just more content that they can be consistent with.
Great question. I mean, it's really, in our business, content is the currency of the digital world, and all businesses, whether they're startups, whether they're established brands, need content, and the need for content is accelerating. The issue that's out there is that the means to develop content are still very traditional and take longer, are more expensive. So what we talk to clients about, and what our superpower is at Rise and my three amazing partners, is we have our own production company. So what we do is we can deliver combined content creation platforms. So in other words, instead of just developing content for a single platform like broadcast or print or digital, we create combined content shoots. In a lot of cases, our clients have big products. They're automotive. They have the vehicle on set. They have the talent on set. The client is on set. So what we do is we put together a team that can accomplish that, which is more time and cost efficient. But
that's great.
All while the biggest thing for clients that we tell them is you have to be authentic. everybody's out there trying to do the right thing. The intention is good. The execution is where it falls down, and there's a lot of gatekeeping in the process. So really
Yeah.
being authentic, and that's what we're doing at Rise. So we're not just a box that we're ticking. We're actually walking the walk in the teams that we put together to develop the content.
Yeah, I think it's great. I love also, I just want to highlight, how you talk about content is currency. I talk a lot about that because you really can, if you take pen to paper, quantify consistency, right? As
Yes.
a currency of getting mind share that leads to market share, that leads to more business in the door. So thanks for that. So I wanna talk about real quickly. I have a question for you before we get into kind of a mini business course. But one of the things we talk about is kind of through an inclusive gaze. But there's so many brands out there that really target an exclusive group of people, and there is, the power of scarcity, and so just kind of compare and contrast, using inclusiveness with exclusiveness sometimes as well.
Yes, and our that is a fabulous question for us because we chose the word widen the gaze, and we use the word inclusivity because it is about being inclusive. It is not about being one or the other, and it's
Mhm.
for us surfacing the right people for the right job and letting the client make the right decision. Brands today do target certain demographics. I mean, depending on the product, they're very strategic about who they're trying to target. Where the disconnect really comes in our content creation ecosystem is that they will be targeting a certain segment of the population, but they will hire a different segment of the population to concept, create, produce, and execute the content. And what happens is you don't have a real connection with the consumer.
Yeah,
And so what happens is it falls down and it doesn't drive business. I mean, authenticity is good for business. It drives revenue. And
yeah,
that's what brands have realized. And it's not just about what happens in front of the camera. You're seeing a lot of it today in front of the camera, but it really needs to happen behind the camera because
yeah,
it's the architect of what the construct of that story is.
yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. All right, let's do a little mini business course
Oh,
on widening the gaze, right? Which is something you like to do, connecting with the consumer. And so, what are three ways where a company needs to, or where you guide them to, three ways they need to be thinking with more awareness when it comes to connecting with their consumer? Number one.
number one is really defining who you're trying to talk to. So and defining who that target audience is. A lot of brands are just trying to, put their product out there and see, but there are certain segments of the population that are targets. And so understanding that demographic and then creating creative that actually fits that demographic.
Yeah,
So number one is identifying the audience. Number two is then looking at how that work gets produced. And it can be anything from, are you choosing the right location? Is that a location where that demographic is going to relate to? Or is that such a disconnect that people just have sort of this emotional detachment to what you're trying to tell them?
yeah.
So, and then three is really following through all the way through to production, all the way through the production process.
So let's talk about the follow through. So a company comes and hires you, you help them define, you help them produce, they follow through, you have a company like yourselves that follow through the production. You go out there and then the company starts getting more foot traffic, more calls, more business, more action to their website. But internally, they're not set up to have impeccable follow through. And that's where I see a lot of the companies that I work with, solopreneurs to fortune companies, everything in between, not to impress, just to impress upon the idea
Yeah.
that I think there needs to be an internal audit also before people come. I mean, a company comes to you, they're spending X amount of hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars, et cetera. But if they're not set up internally to deal with the traffic that's coming, because the attention span is very short for people. They want they want things quickly. We're in an Amazon Prime world where things happen. And so how do you, as part of the production process, how do you guide your clients to get ready for what you're doing? Because a client could point a finger and say what you did didn't work, when really it's just because their internal world, which you have nothing really to do with, isn't working. But how do you still guide them to make that strong?
Well, we really do engage with them. And, same, we deal with clients that are startups, solo entrepreneurs, all the way to blue chip Fortune 500 companies. The bigger the company, the more that they are very dispersed, and they outsource a lot of this. So they'll deploy their agencies, and sometimes multiple agencies. And then those agencies will deploy multiple content creation studios. So it just becomes a spider web of things that are, not completely branded across the board. So what we really do is we engage with our clients. We look at where they are today, what they're trying to do, and then we assist them by partnering with them. And, we have some clients on one project. We'll partner internally to help them with everything from art production, licensing, things like that, and then in other projects, we're just the production company. So really, it's just about bringing that awareness to them. And for us, we launched in September of 2023, and we have several repeat clients. We're engaged in, a ton of projects right now. So I would say that the clients are responding because they are appreciative that we've come from their world. We know where the problems lie, and we come in, and each client is different.
Yeah, I think it's great. And I would recommend also that, companies look at you as an investment, as well as, hiring people to help them come in and build the systems that they need to just not skip a beat. I think it's great. Let's talk about authenticity for a minute. It's a big part of what you have talked to today. It's a big part if you go to the website, authenticity, intentionality. A couple of years ago, that word meant something differently than it means maybe today. I mean, being authentic today, we see it where there's, we see it at the Ivy League schools and a lot of these other schools, and these idiots being quote unquote authentic. So what does authentic mean today?
I mean, I think authentic means being completely true to what your intention is. Not doing it to check the box, not doing it to be DEI, not just doing it because someone told you you have to do it.
Yeah.
Doing it because you really believe that this is the right way to make a connection. Storytelling and developing content is to create a really authentic connection that drives action, right? Everybody wants to drive an action, whether that's to purchase a project, a product, support a cause.
Yeah.
For us, it's really about the clients and pushing back on the clients to say, is that truly what you intend to do? And if you do, then you need to do X, Y, Z.
Right.
So,
And
yes, I think we've seen a lot of people just doing it for the sake of doing it, but not really walking the walk.
Yeah.
Talking the talk, but not walking the walk.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about you and you have 3 business partners, mini life course. You have a background. You've had, amazing opportunities to work at great companies. You've been the chief operating officer at Armstrong White. You've been a senior partner director, creative services at JWT in Detroit, Chicago. You've been with McCann Erickson as a production manager, and now have your own business. And so, in September of 2023. So congratulations on everything. But I think a lot of people are trying to figure this path out as well for themselves. How can I have the freedom that I want, the voice that I want, build the business that I want? And sometimes people, they get stuck in the worlds that they're in. And what are 3 ways that you would kind of, if that person, what would you want to hear when you were in that spot from somebody, what are 3 pieces of guidance that you could give somebody who wants to do what you've accomplished and then start your own business?
Well, thank you for that. Yes, and I was fortunate enough. Also, there's one other agency in there, TBWA Shy Day. I worked there with actually one of my partners, Jigisha Bubara, when I, was freshly out of college. So very much in that, wanted to get into advertising, got in and started my career in production, as did my partner, Jigisha. And we went on to have different careers. I owned Armstrong White. I built it. I sold it. Really thought I was sort of out of the game. Retired in 2020. Then Me Too happened, George Floyd, and I started doing some business consulting. And really, I started doing some business consulting with other female entrepreneurs that came to me and have built very successful businesses and said, "How do I monetize my life's work?" And so what I started doing was helping these women stage themselves to really exit or sell their business or grow their business. Because as we all know from running businesses, it's very hard. You can get to certain, levels pretty easily, but when you go to the next level, it's really hard and you have to scale or you'll fail. So so what I tell people is, do something you love. It's a bit cliche, but I love the creative industry. And my 3 partners, Jigisha Bubara, Brendessa Hale, and Casey Ardenetto, we've all come out of either the nonprofit space or the creative space. We love what we do. We just didn't like the way it was done. And we found a real white space that needed to happen. And we came together and said, they all had their own businesses. So they divested out of their former businesses and we created Rise. So we're 4 entrepreneurial women. And, so do what you love and stay true to what you believe in and what you want to do. It all sounds really cliche. And then, really be open to opportunities when they arise. I see this with so many younger people. They look at where people are in our stage of our careers. And I certainly remember what it was like trying to get my first job in advertising and thinking every ad in Ad Week was 5 to 10 years of experience. I'm like, how am I ever going to get hired if I don't have any experience? So you just have to stay with it and really find your way. And really, I think it's really important to have good mentors and partners. Like find those mentors that will impart those wisdoms or be there for you when you are stuck. And that is what you're doing, is really you get to a point as an entrepreneur where you're stuck and you need somebody to guide you through it.
Yeah, let me ask you, thank you for that. Just that whole description, not just the shout out to me, but what do you talk about picking the right business partners? Because I talk about that a lot. It's you got to be 150% sure that you're picking the right business partner, because you can get into a business, too far where you really can't rewind a bad business partnership. It just gets very difficult. And so, how did you go about making sure that you all had your strengths, your lanes, you complemented each other, and where you can let enough ego to push the drive of the business, but not the ego to get in the way of the business?
Yeah, that is a fantastic question. This is my second partnership. So I had 3 partners prior. And so this is my second business where I'm in a partnership. And, there is an old saying that partnership is the most dangerous ship upon which to sail. And it can go really bad and it can be really wonderful. And I think for the 4 of us today at Rise, we have all had business partners. So we came to this and said, we will only do this with people who share our values, share our work ethic. We are 4 equal partners and we are very different. We head up different pieces of the business. For me, I'm the CEO and I'm really driving the strategic vision of the company, business development. My partner, Jigisha Bubara, is our chief creative officer. And then my other partner, Brendessa Hale, is our director of production. And then Casey Ardenetto is our CFO. And she came out of running nonprofits So for us, we all satisfy a key channel of the business. So I would tell anybody if they're going to bring in a partner that, it's a very, very long-term relationship. You're getting married in this partnership
Yeah.
until you exit the business one way or another, either a transaction or someone buys someone out. So, and you have to have trust, and they have to really have the same ethics you do. Most important thing is that ethically they have to be on the same page, because we don't always agree and we have healthy debates about the direction forward. But ethically, we all operate under the same moral and ethical code.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. Well, congratulations on that, and that mini course I think is really really helpful. When it comes to running a business and getting out there and starting in September of 23 and getting out and getting your first client, your first two clients, your first three clients, and prospecting and marketing yourself. What were kind of the first couple of things that you did to make that happen?
I mean, for us, we're all very seasoned in the industry. So we're very connected in four different ways, which actually really helped us because, right, we had
Yeah.
a diverse set of contacts that we would draw from. So we really relied on our own network. And then we went out and then we approached brands that aligned with our values and, have pitched ourselves and said, we want to work with you. And this is what we think we can do for you. And this is the value that we bring. And the response has been overwhelming. It's been fantastic.
Great. Good. It's great. I was hoping you would say something to that, right? Where you tap into your network, you use your network, you go out and you pitch people and say, this is why we can help you. And it doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter when you start, at what age or what experience you have.
Right.
A new business is a new business, and you got to do the fundamentals and put yourself out there and go pitch. I think a lot of times some people think, Katherine, well, I should be at a point where I don't have to go pitch and people should come to me. But I think the world is different, and I think you got to go out and get as much as kind of can come in the door. So kudos. That's great. All right, let's do a quick speed round.
Okay.
A book or a TED Talk that's had a big impact on you?
A book that's had a big impact on me is, I would say Lean In by Sheryl Sanders is, something that really is pretty early on. It's an older book, but it really, really helped me really understand the power of leaning into what I believe in and what I see and the inequities I see and having a voice to verbalize it.
Yeah. Good. Best piece of wisdom you've ever received?
Oh, best piece of wisdom I've ever received is from Jay Chiat, who taught me early on, good enough is never enough. And that is a credo that we carry through at Rise.
It's good. Last question, finish a sentence. One thing everybody can do to become a more effective storyteller is?
Be authentic and understand what that means for you.
That's great. Katherine, tell everybody who your ideal clients are and how they can connect with you.
Our ideal clients are, emerging brands or existing brands, and you can connect with us by going to risecreativestudios.com. And we work across all industries, and we love doing great creative work for great clients.
It's great. Well, I appreciate your time, and this was great. Think Community. We talk a lot about marketing and branding and being an entrepreneur, starting your own business, starting a side business. But there's no straight line to success, and
No.
if the vision of something you want is there, you just got to continually keep it alive, and then everything will kind of, if it's in alignment, things will kind of come your way. But that doesn't take the place of, like you shared today, Katherine, a lot of hard work, building your business, and finding the white space of where there is a better way to do something, at least for how you and your partner see it. And a lot of times I think people discount that what they're thinking can be a better way, because they think everybody thinks that, but really everybody doesn't think that. And so the
Right.
way that you and your partners, it sounds like, have uniquely thought about things and uniquely come together is uniquely making a big difference in the clients that you work with. So thanks for everything that you do. Think community, you can reach me if you want to talk about any coaching at jondwoskin.com, and you can reach Katherine and her team at risecreativestudios.com. Katherine, this was great. I appreciate all your time, and thanks for sharing so much content. Appreciate it.
Great. Thank you very much.